everybody, welcome to class. Frank Markow here. I will be your professor for this class, which is entitled Organizational Behavior, ORST420. Now, what is organizational behavior? Well, that's what you're going to find out in the coming weeks. I'm here to tell you about the class itself. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through the course outline. I'm going to talk about some of the goals of the class, the course materials, some of the weekly expectations, some of the weekly assignments, sort of my attitude and approach to the discussion board, and basically everything you need to know to get a great grade in this class. But grades aren't our ultimate goal, though, are they? Actually learning something is our ultimate goal. At least that's my ultimate goal, and that would be my wish for all of you that you want to learn. Now, you know these 5-week classes, these things move just like that. So it's going to seem like you're drinking from a proverbial fire hose here, but if you keep up with the work and you can put in the required 12 to 15 hours per week, which is what the university has instructed me as the workload for these classes, then you should be able to do just fine. So there's no prior knowledge necessary for this class. You don't have to be an organizational management whiz, although I know some of you are. But if you can just put in the time, put in the energy, be diligent about your assignments, turn things in on time, I think you'll do just fine. So, just a little bit of background about myself. I've been teaching this topic for quite a while now. Used to teach full-time at Life Pacific, actually. But I'm a graduate of Regent University. I have my PhD in organizational leadership. I'm a leadership guy, and when you get to the leadership section in week 4, hopefully that'll shine a little bit more. But I love organizational behavior as well, because leadership actually is part of organizational behavior. I know I'm starting to teach here, but OB is the larger topic in which leadership resides. So to me, this is such an important topic because we all love leadership, but if you don't understand the larger context, then your leadership isn't as effective. So my hope is that this class will really open up your eyes to some of the larger organizational issues involved in being an effective leader and an effective manager, which I know is all of your goals. Just a little bit of background about myself. I'm married. I have 4 wonderful children. I have 6 altogether, but 2 of them aren't so wonderful. Just an old Woody Allen joke. No, actually, all of my children are wonderful. Wonderful wife, and currently reside in Flower Mound, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas, just a little bit north of the city of Dallas. I've been teaching since early 2000. I'm probably a little older than I look, but I've been teaching about 20 years now at the college level, and at the undergrad and the graduate level, and at the doctoral level as well. So I like this topic a lot, and I think you're going to get a lot from this class. What else can I say about myself? Well, I'm a musician. You'll probably learn that along the way. You'll see some hints of my music studio at home, and you will hear actually some productions that I have made as the bumper music. So I hope you like the bumper music for the videos. Those come to you courtesy of yours truly. I use that not because I'm vain or have anything, although I probably am a little vain, but they're copyright free because I wrote and composed them. So I don't have to worry about YouTube or anybody dinging me for copyright infringement. That's always a concern. And that way I don't have to use the cheesy music that they put out there for free. So, what else do you want to know about me? I don't know. Send me an email, ask me a question if you have it, but I think that's enough to get us started. You'll get to know me as well through the videos and through our time together. So, without any further ado, what I would like to do, as I mentioned earlier, is to go through the course outline. I want you to be well informed up front about what the expectations are for this course so that you can do well in the course. Now, if you haven't already done so, I want you to pause and I want you to read the course outline. Okay, because this video is not a substitute for reading it. I want you to read it thoroughly and then come back, and hopefully this will clarify some things that maybe you had questions about or leave you more confused, as the case may be. So hit pause. Now that you've read the syllabus, let's take a couple minutes and go through it, shall we? Organizational Behavior, ORST420, Course Outline. Here is my contact information if you ever need to contact me. You can email me, you can call me, you can even send me a text message in a pinch. Please respect my regular office hours, 9 to 5-ish. If it's an emergency, you can send me something later. Course description. This course introduces the systematic study of individuals, groups, and organizational behaviors and processes. It presents the framework for the analysis of these levels of organizational functioning, aimed at enhancing personal, group, team, and organizational effectiveness. Topics include the structure, values, and culture of organizations, motivation, leadership, power, cooperation, decision-making, and organizational change, amongst others. Here's the school's credit hour policy. Again, please note that the school is expecting a student to spend between 12 and 15 hours per week. And if somebody told you that it's easy and it's quick to get your degree studying online, they were not telling you the truth. It's going to be work, and this is about how much work you're going to take. It's going to take for you per week in order to succeed in this class. Here's the program objectives, which you're probably familiar with by now. Here's the course objectives for this particular course. Let me go through these quickly. Number 1, explain key concepts of organizational behavior using the relevant theory and concepts. And let me just mention this. I'm kind of a big relevant theory and concept guy. It's important for me that you understand relevant theory and concepts. There's a lot of them in organizational behavior. It's kind of a theory-heavy discipline. And so when we have discussions and when you write papers, I'm always looking to see that you understand key theories and concepts. So I'm looking to see things like, according to Edgar Schein, we know that culture has these 3 main elements. That's a good, way to approach that, as opposed to, well, I heard a guy who said once that culture eats strategy for lunch every day. Right? Okay, that's a pithy little saying that's entered into our vernacular, but that's not organizational theory, right? Those aren't concepts that you can cite. Again, this is a college class, so you need to be able to be conversant at that level. Okay, so enough said on that. Number 2, apply concepts of organizational behavior to an organizational context with the goal of improving organizational efficiency and effectiveness. And again, you're taking this class presumably because you want to be a good manager. You want your organizations and businesses to thrive. So an important part for this class for me, and hopefully for you, is to be able to apply these ideas to a real life setting. So the reflection papers are going to have an opportunity for you to apply these ideas generally and then apply them specifically to your own context. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but application obviously is very important. That's the fruit, right? That's the fruit. We want to be able to take these ideas and implement solutions that help us have healthy organizations and businesses. Number 3, understand how concepts of organizational behavior lead to improve organizational results and individual thriving in the workplace. So again, it's not just about the organization and about your profit center and your bottom line, but it's about helping the people in your organizations become empowered and all that they can be, all that God's called them to be as well in the organization. Number 4, apply concepts of OB to the processes of incentivizing and evaluating employees. Okay, enough said on that one. Number 5, apply organizational behavior to personal motivation, conflict management, communication, team, and group dynamics to help the organization achieve its goals. So these are just some of the topics that we're going to counter. So the objectives now are just listing out some of the topics. And then number 6, foster healthy organizational culture that appreciates the God-honoring diversity in their organizations. And again, culture is an important part of organizational behavior. We're going to take a look at that in depth later on in the class. But I want you to see here that, we're going to try to show how organizations reflect the diversity of God, of God's heart. And as a manager, you understand that diversity and you're able to think about that holistically in a way that is honoring to our Lord. Now, the course textbooks, there's really only one. Griffin's, Philip, and Gully, Organizational Behavior, Managing People and Organization. Now, let me just say a little note about this. We have a textbook that can be delivered online, and there's also a lot of online assets and content and activities that I'm going to ask you to be engaged in. So I gave you the course key, I gave you the link to the Cengage site, so you don't even have to order and have it shipped. You can do everything online. Now, they might have a hard copy option for you if you prefer to do that, and I know a lot of students actually want a book, and that's great, go for it. If not, you can get everything you need right there online. But I want you to become familiar with the Cengage site. I've set up a site just for this course, and the key down there, the link in the key, should give you access to that. We're going to be using that for several things that I'll be explaining in just a little bit here. Course organization. Courses are organized into 5 weekly sessions in Moodle. Each online session begins Monday morning and ends Sunday night. The prior week's material will remain accessible. However, any late assignments may be penalized at the discretion of the professor. Yes, they will. And see my late work policy below. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so here's some of the regular things that you'll encounter each week. Announcements. Please look at the announcements the first time as soon as you log into Moodle. They should be pushed out to your email, but just in case, double check Moodle for the announcements. I like to make at least a couple of announcements a week. I'll typically make a beginning of the week announcement, maybe a midweek progress or some reflections on your grades if I return an assignment, or some administrative housekeeping or some resource citing or something like that. And then I'll do another announcement at the end of the week. So please pay attention to those. I usually have information that's usually relevant and helpful. And then prayer requests. There's a prayer request section. And again, we're a Christian university. We want to lift up our students, not just intellectually, academically, but spiritually as well. So please put those in there and let's pray for each other. This is a class, even though we don't get to see each other face to face, we're still a bunch of people in this class, right? You, me, all your colleagues, all your peers. So let's try to work together and lift each other up in prayer. Here are some of the more tangible course requirements. The first one is video lecture content. Now, each week's course material includes lectures that present important elements for that week's coursework. It's important that students carefully review the lectures to integrate them into the discussion questions, responses, and other required assignments. There will be one professor overview video each week, which will give a big picture overview of the weekly topics, as well as some applications and insights, and perhaps some humor. In addition, the MindTap site has a variety of short videos for each chapter. Okay, so big idea here is that I'm going to post a video, and I'm going to post links. Well, in the MindTap site, they're going to have videos as well. So these are a little shorter from a variety of sources. You have different managers talking about these ideas and concepts as they relate to different organizational contexts. Okay, so those are going to be fruitful as well. So consider all of the video content in this class is required for you, and it's going to enrich your experience, and it's going to help you engage in the discussions as well. Number 2, reading. And each week you must read several chapters in Griffin's, Phillips, and Goley, which we will hereby refer to as GPG, because those names are a mouthful. And so it should take about 30 to 60 minutes for each chapter. And again, this might seem like a lot to you. You might be saying, man, this is so much reading. Again, we're trying to cram 3 credits into 5 weeks, all right? So do the math. This is going about 3 times as fast as your normal college class. So again, I hope you guys are up to speed with the pace of these programs here, but it's going to be a lot of reading. But fortunately for you, this is the only textbooks. I don't have 5 different textbooks. You've got 1 textbook to focus on. And again, I believe the reading is fairly engaging. It's applicable for those of you already in management. If you're not in management yet, you're going to need to know these things. So I hope you enjoy this reading. And I would recommend that you complete all your reading by Tuesday night. So spend Monday night and Tuesday night working on your reading and getting that out of the way. So you might say, well, I got 4 chapters this week. Okay, well, that's 2 chapters one night and 2 chapters the next week. That's not too much, right? That's what? 2 hours per evening, Monday and Tuesday. Once you do that, then you'll be ready to engage into the discussion threads. All right? So that would be my hope and plan for you guys, is that you get all that reading done early in the week. Watch those videos. If you have to do a little bit on Wednesday to finish up, that's great, because Wednesday is when your actual big discussions are due, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Number 3, self-assessments. Now let me just talk about this a little bit. Each chapter ends with a self-assessment. This is a test that you take. They're pretty short, 10 to 12 questions. It'll give you the results immediately. And it has to do with it's going to reflect your own attitudes about a particular topic, teams or motivation or whatever the topic is. You're going to take this brief assessment and it's going to give you a score. Some of our discussions will ask you to reflect on your score, to talk about that, and integrate it with your thinking and understanding of this in terms of applying these ideas to your own life and to your own organization. Okay, so again, part of growing as an effective leader is learning about yourself, becoming self-aware, learning about your own values and attitudes and dispositions and likes and dislikes and all those sort of things. So take advantage of these assessments. I think they're going to help you. And then, of course, the statement of academic honesty. This is something that all courses at Life Pacific University do. And the reason why we do this is because we want to help you be honest, okay? So we don't believe in plagiarism and cheating and all those kinds of things, right? So you're going to be an honest, good student, and at the end you're going to sign the statement of honesty letting us know that you've done so, all right? So enough about that. All right, let's talk about some of the required graded assignments. First is the discussion question response, and notice that this is a big 40% of your course grade. All right, so you've probably learned by now discussion boards are an important part of the online experience. Now, each week I'm going to post several questions. Go ahead and read this, but let me just kind of give you my heart and thinking about this. Each week we're going to have several questions, and I'm going to have two different types of questions. I'm going to have the discussion proper, which has to do with the content of the course, some of the readings and the videos and the main ideas. And this is where you're really going to get to show me that you've read and wrestled with these ideas, are able to think about them, apply them, synthesize them, and such. But then the other approach is going to be what we call faith integration. And again, we're a Christian university. We want to see how well you were able to take these ideas and synthesize them, integrate them, if you will, with our understanding as believers. So I may give a scripture or a scriptural idea and say, how does this relate to X topic, right? And so to do a little bit of thinking, you have to read that scripture, those passages, you have to think about the concepts that we're learning about, and then put them together. Okay, so there's no right answer per se on these, but I just want to see that you're wrestling with, you're thinking about how some of our beliefs and assumptions and values as Christians integrate with some of these ideas that we're learning about from organizational behavior. And I think you'll see a lot of interesting overlap. This is going to be a good exercise for you. And again, I mentioned this earlier, but let me reiterate it. Your posts are expected to demonstrate understanding of key concepts, critical thinking, and be supported by course materials. Unless specifically asked for, avoid relying on statements such as, in my opinion. These are less convincing and substantive than, according to so-and-so, who is an expert. Once you've established you understand the key concepts, then you can feel free to offer your opinion. Okay, so nothing bothers me more than for an undergrad to start off a statement by saying, well, in my opinion, well, in my experience. I want to know those things, but I want to know moreover, and primarily, is that you understand the ideas that we're actually trying to teach you, right? Because you don't need a class to share your opinions, right? You can do that on your own for free. Why do you want to pay all that money to share your opinions, right? So share knowledge, share wisdom, and then when prompted as appropriate, then you can kind of give some reflection and application and synthesis, all right? Okay, enough said on that. Now, let me just talk about my role in the discussion. I will be there reading, responding. I may not read and respond to every one of your posts. My rule of thumb is to try to respond to each student at least once per week in a substantive way. So if we've got 3 posts going on, 3 discussions, I'll pick one that looks interesting and I'll engage in that one, right? So you'll see me in there. The other ones I might just kind of give you a couple attaboys or maybe mention something here and there, but I try to focus in, and so that way I can really dive into that particular one. So my role, consider me as the teacher who's walking around the class and you guys are having class discussions, and I'll sit down for a little bit, see how you're doing, maybe throw in some ideas, maybe challenge you a little bit, push back a little bit, and then walk on to the next group, okay? So that's kind of my role, is to moderate. I'm not there to teach on every topic in the discussion, right? I'm there to kind of co-participate. Usually what I'll do is I'll ask you questions, and you'll make a statement, and I'll come in and I'll ask a question, say, well, you made this statement here, what about this? Or how does this apply to this? Or have you considered this? And I try to model what I consider to be good discussion board behavior for all of you. So if you're wondering how you go about discussion, how do you do discussion in Frank Markow's class, take a look at how I respond. That's the same, that's a good model for you. So finding something, identifying something interesting that piques your interest in the post, and then talking about that particular thing and asking a question, right? So I like it when you ask questions to the other students, because if you just say something like, oh, that was great, and that really, resonated with me and I appreciate that so much, the end. Well, where does it go from there? right? You've already kind of, the initial poster can't respond to that. So mention something and then give them a question that'll make them think even harder and push them a little bit further. Okay, so I kind of like that question and answer approach to the discussion board. It helps keep it going more. You can see the weekly discussion schedule here. Again, I'm hoping that by Tuesday, Wednesday, you have your initial posts. By Thursday, Friday, you'll be all finished up and have everything completed by Friday, Saturday. I believe in a Sabbath. I do not want to see any work going on Sunday. You can work on your papers on Sunday, but there's not going to be any discussion board on Sunday. I will not participate on Sunday. All right? Again, I would recommend that you engage your faith integration posts earlier by Tuesday, and that your OB concepts by Wednesday, right? So you don't have to do as much reading and have as much understanding to do the faith integration one. So start that earlier in the week by Tuesday, and then do your other one on Wednesday. Okay, so I'll try to help you guys manage this all here. Read about netiquette. Let's talk about the quizzes. These are 20% of your course grade. Again, these are all going to be in the Cengage MindTap site for our course. So you'll go in there, real easy to take. They're about 12 to 15 questions each. This should take you about 15 to 30 minutes to do each one. There will be one per chapter. Okay, so again, study, review the textbook, make sure you get these ideas fresh in your mind before you take the quiz, and that way you'll do good on those. And now here's the major assignment that's going to happen each week. Weekly reflection and application assignments. And notice, this is 40% of your course grade. So it's a little less than 10% per each one, 8% so. And these are going to meet several learning outcomes. Now, each paper is going to be a 5-page paper reviewing and applying various concepts studied that week. They should follow the following format and have section headers as follows. Okay, again, I'm big on APA. I'm big on formatting your papers. So if you put these 4 section headers in there, appropriate APA format, it'll indicate to me you've done a proper organization of your paper. Okay, so here's the first section, OB Concept Review. This section should be an overview of the key concepts and theories, citing the textbook and other course materials as appropriate. This section should demonstrate that you have comprehensive knowledge of the key concepts related to the topic. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. Show me that you know this stuff. And again, in a 5-page paper, this should be at least maybe a page and a half to 2 pages. This is important that you have this section here that you really show me. And again, you're not opinionating or applying here, you're just giving key concepts that underlie this thing. And I'll talk about the specific concepts in a bit, but this is what your paper should be like. That first section should have that OB concept and theory review. Now the second section is what I call general application. Discuss the application to organizational effectiveness in general and how these ideas can improve the operations of the organization. Discuss best practices and other real-world applications. Okay, so don't think about your particular organization, but what did the textbook, what did the videos, what does your common sense tell you about how these ideas apply in an organizational context generally? Not your particular industry, but just in general, why is it important to understand these? How do these help us as managers to be more effective? The third section then is the specific application. Discuss the application to organizational effectiveness to your own organization and context and how you personally see the benefit and application of these ideas. Discuss personal insights into your organizational context, these ideas given you, insights on past mistakes made by you or management, how you can use these ideas in the future to improve the performance of the org as well as contribute to the thriving and engagement of your personnel. Okay, so now this is where you're going to say, all right, I work at so-and-so. I'm a manager here, I'm an employee here, mid-level, whatever you are. Here's how these ideas help me to understand things. How to, to deal with something, to understand something in the past, perhaps an issue, or maybe even something currently. You might be reading something, say, oh my gosh, this is perfect timing. I need some help on this in our context. Or in the future, you might say, yeah, we haven't really dealt with this yet. For example, evaluations. We don't have a very good evaluation systems here, but I've been convicted and I've learned all about evaluation and reward systems. It's important for motivation, for performance and for goals and all those sort of things. We need to evaluate, we need to implement a evaluation system in my organization. Okay? And then of course references. And this should be primarily your textbook and any other references that you find that will be helpful. Now, each week, we're going to do different topics. So this is the general format of the paper, But each week you're going to focus on a particular topic, and it's going to be the topic that we looked at each week. So week 1, how concepts of OB lead to improved organizational results and individual engagement. Week 2, the process of motivating, incentivizing, and evaluating employees. Week 3, group dynamics, group and team dynamics, conflict management, and communication. Week 4, leadership, including traditional and modern approaches, as well as power and politics. And then week 5, healthy organizational culture that appreciates the God-honoring diversity in their organizations, giving relevant scripture or biblical concepts. All right? So these topics here for the paper align with the topics that we're going to be learning about each week in the class, and we'll get to that in just a second. So here's the criteria for grading the paper. I like to have a nice little rubric here. So again, review this rubric before you do your paper and shoot for outstanding, and you'll do really well in these papers. Now here's the course schedule, and again, I've aligned this to the textbook. The textbook is kind of the skeleton of the topics for the class. So you'll see that this essentially mirrors the topics in the textbook. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all these right here, but read through these, especially each week. So as you're going into each week, you want to make sure that you're clear on what the topics are, what your reading is, what videos are required here, and then the assignments due: faith integration, OB discussion, quizzes, and reflection application. Okay, so this is going to be fairly similar to week. The cool thing about this course is once you get the rhythm and the pattern, that's going to be it. I don't throw in a whole lot of curveballs or anything like that. It's all pretty similar. And what you probably also notice in this class is there's no big final paper. Yes, you're welcome. Yes, thank you, Dr. Markow. You're welcome. I didn't give you a big paper. That's why these weekly ones are a little more robust. Okay, so you're still doing a lot of writing in this class, but I'm not giving you this big honking paper at the end that you have to work on and chip away at. And like that last week, I know how it is. You're cranking on that paper, and you're just like you want to kill yourself because it's so hard, and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Okay, so if you keep up with the week, the content, each week's going to feel about the same for this class. And by the time you're done, you're going to have 5 amazing papers. You've taken 15 tests. You've engaged in 15 amazing discussions, and you're going to know a lot about organizational behavior, if I have anything to say about it. Here's the course grading. This is all according to Life Pacific policy here. Here's our policies. I'm not really going to read through these much other than to reiterate that APA is the required format for all papers. Learn it, love it, use it, know it. Read some of the other school policies here. Late work policy. Let me just mention this to you, okay? Because invariably some of you are going to say, "Oh, Dr. Markow, my dog died. My dog ate my computer, and I don't know what to do. I'm going to be late on this paper." Well, I understand. Life happens. Dogs eating computers happens. So, but here's what happens though in the event of a late paper. 1 letter grade will be deducted for each day past the due date. Thereafter, 1 letter grade will be deducted for each additional week. Okay, so if you turn it in 2 weeks late and ordinarily it was an A paper, it now becomes a C paper. Okay, so you see, this should motivate you if you're going to be late. And please, if you know you're going to be late for some reason, let me know. Okay, create goodwill with your professor. Let me know about these things. And again, letting me know does not negate the late work policy. I just want to make that clear. Sometimes students think, well, I told you I was going to be late. I know, and I told you I had a late policy too, okay? So I'm glad you communicated with me to let me know, not to kick you out of the class or to dismiss you out of hand. I wouldn't do that. That would be kind of mean. But still, this is the policy. So my advice to all of y'all is, keep up with your work and don't turn things in late. Sunday night is when the papers are due, okay? Sunday night. When are papers due? Sunday night. Got it. You guys got it. All right. Plagiarism, don't do it. Here's your library and information resources. And of course, I am always available for additional assistance by email or phone. And then here's a suggested bibliography. These are the kind of books that I read and others read in the field of organizational behavior to help us be up to speed with the whole topic. Well, that is it. That was our about 30-minute whirlwind tour through this class. I hope you're as excited as I am about the class. I think each week we're going to engage in some important and life-changing topics. Your life will never be the same. You cannot unknow these things once you know them. And so my hope and prayer is that you can really engage this topic in this class, work together with me, with your fellow students, and become an expert in the topic of organizational behavior. So, look forward to working with all of you. Again, let me just reiterate, I might seem a little tough-nosed, but I'm a good guy and I like to get to know my students. So please reach out to me, send me an email or a phone call and say, hey, if you ever have questions about a project or anything like that, one of the assignments, just give me a call. I'm here to help you out, okay? So I'm a very approachable guy. Don't worry about bothering me. I don't like it when students say, oh, I hate to bother you, but hey, 5 weeks, you own me, all right? You can bother me. I give you permission to bother me over the next 5 weeks. Now, if the class is over, that's it. No, just kidding. Maybe we'll become friends, lifelong friends, who knows? But you have permission to reach out to me if you need it. I'm here for you, okay? You're not here for me. I'm here for you. So if you have questions or concerns, anything, just please let me know. I'll do all I can to serve you because I love my students, and I don't know you yet, but I'm going to love you too. And I'm praying for you guys every day. You're in my prayers right next to my children and my family and all the things that are important to me. My children, my country, and all the world events and all the people I know. I pray for my students every day, and I'm going to be praying for you guys every day. All right? So that's it. God bless you guys, and I'll see you online.